My name is Kelly Purdie, and previous to becoming Orthodox, I was raised Baptist, and I was really engaged in that church when I was younger. I made a lot of decisions to have that as a prevalent part of my life. And I always asked a lot of questions, why we did things certain ways, or just about like history. And I always wanted to know more. And sometimes those questions were answered, but oftentimes they were unanswered. And so it kept me asking those questions. So when it did come time for me to leave the church, it was a really hard decision because I did love the hymns and I loved the people, and it was part of my childhood that I was, and young adult that I was leaving behind. Father James and I had just been married for about 2 years when he was in seminary, and he was at a Presbyterian seminary, and we started looking because the jurisdiction that he was in, they were essentially voting and changing the identity of Christ and things that we thought were fundamental in the church and shouldn't just be able to be changed by voting. So we started thinking, well, what churches don't make those changes like that? And it prompted us to kind of go back in time. And we looked at a lot of different churches, and we found Orthodoxy because he had been introduced to who's now Bishop John Abdallah, and that was my first introduction, other than hearing about it in history class in high school. I had never had any other influence besides that. The church that we went to for the first time was just really welcoming, and we felt we belonged just because of the way the people embraced us. Growing up Protestant, I did have issues with Mary, with closed communion, icons. So I definitely had to learn a lot about what those mean to the church, how they're actually identified, and what does that mean, within my faith. How does that settle with me? And so I overcame those obstacles in my mind. I just learned, I just actually went back into history, and I got out of my comfort zone in learning those things. The more I learned, the more comfortable I felt, and definitely the people helped me to feel the love too. Ultimately, I chose to become Orthodox because it just felt right. My husband definitely steered me in that direction, but I was chrismated after him. I wanted to be chrismated on my own terms and not just follow because he did. It has definitely provided a deeper spiritual life for me. In the beginning, I thought it was going to be too ritualistic, but it's not. I have actually found that the prayers and the incense and the candles and the regular liturgical calendar have just created a sense of stability in my life and ways that I can instill a proper prayer life, focusing even my physical body towards my spiritual salvation. I just feel whole now. It was really enlightening for me to realize that this was the true and apostolic church, and that it still, for the most part, holds true to what Christ had intended when he walked the earth. And so I think when people can learn about that and overcome some of the obstacles that they might have, that they too will embrace it.